it made me realize that there was a beginning before the beginning.
Right.
When you read the Bible, if you're a Christian, it says in the beginning, before even man was created, God spoke to things, to some things that helped create the world. He said, let there be. There was somebody he was talking to.
Right.
There was no human then, but there was somebody he was talking to. This is before Christ.
Right.
This is before any other questions that we have that church leaders don't answer. But if you read the book of Jeremiah, there's a verse. I don't know, I'm not very familiar with what verse it was, but God was speaking to somebody and he said, before you were born, I knew who you were. I know how you were created. I already formed you. So basically, spirit came before physical.
Right.
Spirit came before the body.
Right.
So there has to be a history that was before that. Also, like by the time the missionaries came in the 18th, 17th century to Africa to bring the Bibles and all that, they found evidence in Egypt that their ancestral worship styles,
right,
all these carvings, they already had resembling stories just like the Bible,
right,
about Jesus, about Cain and Abel, the first
murder,
suicide, murder, homicide.
Right.
So in your understanding, the way you believe in spirituality, is you want to connect to that part. You want to know that history that was taken away.
And that is who we are.
Correct.
Because our African ancestors, in the African spirituality system, like we are spiritual first before we came into this physical realm.
Correct.
So when somebody dies, they're not dead. It's just this physical body that is done. But they go into a different realm.
Good.
Right?
Yes.
So when our ancestors used to pour libation, they put drinks, on the ground. And
it was actually a celebration when you think about it. We were looking forward to die. My cousin can tell you, one of the things that I always talk about in the negative light is a lot of people in Africa celebrate funerals. They get happy. It's easier to get a fundraising when you're dead on one side than when you're alive. Before I used to misunderstand it, but now I understand it like people are celebrating.
It's a celebration.
The spirit is let loose.
Exactly.
The spirit is free.
Right.
Continue.
Because when all that celebration that they do,
correct,
is for you to make your journey back into the spiritual realm where you came from. And that is what they do their funeral celebration for.
For students who are not familiar with African spirituality, for a beginner, how would you tell them how it relates to us here, like here in North Seattle, our community? How do you think it relates to them if we were to go? Because you've spoken about this in institutions. How is it relevant to them now? Because some people think, man, that's retro, that's back in the day, that's juju, that's a dark magic. How would you relate that to today?
Yeah. So, like you said, it's been demonized, right? Because it's just Christianity came, and see, back then a lot of the practices that we do, our elders did not explain a lot of things to us.
Yeah.
Right. For example, a perfect example. Let's say when a king dies, right? Back then, they say, and that's what they claim, that they'll kill people to accompany the dead person.
The spirit.
For the spirit to make it into, to be the servant in the spiritual world.
Correct. Yeah.
Which is not true. That's a complete false.
That's a complete fallacy, yeah.
Let's say when a king dies, the person is so great as a person that they don't want, there's some sacrifice and there's some spiritual stuff they got to do. That has to be done in secret. Not everybody
knows about it.
Exactly.
Vows.
So they put out this thing that, hey, if we catch you outside, we're going to kill you.
Correct.
And you're going to accompany the dead into the spiritual realm.
Correct.
So that people will be scared and not come out.
Correct.
But today, I see a lot of funeral celebrations on YouTube.
Yes, I see that.
Today, when you look at any funeral celebration, you see kids. The dead body is there, and kids playing around and just don't care.
They don't feel like they're like scared, like how we were. Like,
exactly.
Don't touch it. Yeah.
Back then, you'd be so scared to go see.
Man, I was thinking that this ghost will come chase me in my dreams and cause me nightmares. Ooh.
Exactly.
But now, when I go to a funeral, I'm like, yo, he's good. I remember there was a funeral of shout out to Elijah Lewis. Remember him, our friend from
I met him one time.
Yeah,
Great guy.
Rest in power, my guy.
Yeah.
When I went to his funeral, we had a virgil up there on Capitol Hill, and I remember everybody was sad and crying. Me and this comedian called Laura, a good comedian here in Seattle, Royal Lions, we were there. But me, I was laughing with people.
Right.
And the people, some of the guys were like getting agitated, like, "Why are you not respecting why we're here?"
Right.
And I'm like, just because you mourn in that manner, I don't mourn him like he's gone.
Exactly.
I mourn him like, yo, I'm done with the sufferings of this world and everybody demanding my time.
Yeah.
I'm now watching over you. Because there's no place that's been documented where they say the spirit died.
Nope. And even they teach us in science that they said atoms, matter, energy can never be created nor destroyed.
Think about it.
So humans, we are energy, right?
That always
That
attracts
is
other
also
energy
when
from
you,
the matter.
exactly.
Yeah.
So when you die, you simply transform into a different realm. You don't die, you don't get created. You're already there, and you come here for a period of time. And when your time is up, you leave. You go back into a different realm.
The part of African spirituality that I tapped into a lot, and I'm speaking about something that happened recently when the pandemic happened.
Right.
The doctors didn't have answers. The religious leaders didn't have answers.
Right.
Yes, we had the medicine going around, which right now we're not going to get if it was fake or not, because even the people who are not vaccinated are still walking around. That's what they're saying. So I'm not even going to get there because that's another day, story for another day.
Right.
But I realized that every time you went to hospital, this happens to everybody. They don't work on your body. Like, hey, let's analyze your body. They keep asking you questions.
Questions. Yep.
Same question you should have asked when gospel came to Africa. Before, what's the history? If you had diabetes before, whatever this body is thinking right now, it's not about you. It's about your history.
Exactly.
What was given to you. So some of the spirits we carry, even through our families, through ourselves, they're not us. They were passed on.
Exactly.
Descendants of descendants of descendants.
Yeah.
Now, to you as a spiritual man, what are some of the misconceptions and stereotypes about spirituality in Africa, especially Ghana, that you'd like to be like, bro, don't do that?
And
That's not what it is. Whatever when they slaughter an animal or they drink something, it's part of respect, pathway to feed and show them that. How would you explain to somebody who has never been in that world?
right. So the energies that we don't see, right? And those energies, it's just like you have a car. You got to put gas in it in order to move.
Correct. Yeah.
Right? So the energies, I would say that's the fuel in order to do what they do in the spiritual realm.
Yeah.
So part of the things that we got to do is we got to, every now and then sacrifice some, sheep for them, pour libation. That is all the energy that the fuel that we give to them for them to do their job, for them to do what they do.
And in the Bible too, remember they wanted Abraham to sacrifice his son, and the first homicide again, there was a sacrifice, and God wanted the blood over vegetables.
Exactly. But now they say that Jesus came and died and changed everything. So now we don't have to do those things again, which is bullshit.
Yeah, because it's still, those spirits are still alive.
Exactly.
That part of the world is still alive.
It's still there.
Correct.
So, and when you go to different places in Africa, they still practice that. And you look at those people who still practice that, they are more powerful.
Okay.
Those people are still powerful and, they're there and nothing happened to them. What I believe that when Christianity was brought to Africa, some of the reasons that made it so popular was that they said that, hey, all you got to do is go to church and confess your sins. So do you want to tell me that if I come to your house and I come and steal your iPhone, which it took hard work to get it.
Correct.
I would take your iPhone and then walk into the church and talk in the air to confess about it and I'm forgiven.
There's no actual like repercussions.
Exactly.
For your actions. There's no this is what I'm gonna do. Because the New Testament, according to my limited gospel knowledge, is faster, easier pathway to God and Jesus.
Right.
But if we are speaking about African spirituality, which was like before Christ and before the Bibles,
Right.
how long did it take people to get forgiven? When Jesus was out there in the desert for 40 days and 40 nights, no one recorded it, right? He went alone.
Right.
So how did we get the information of what he said and what kind of prayer he said, if it's just him and that? He probably told the disciples, correct? But there was a spirit there.
Right.
That spirit was not blink, say 3 verses and leave. He had to spend that much time.
Right.
So I believe African spirituality should be given the same amount of respect. Considering that some people are not Christian, Zulu, Shona, Swahili, the guys up in Egypt, the guys up in Ethiopia, and they still are thriving. Mansa Musa, the richest people in Africa at that time, that was before the Bible.
Christianity.
So how are they blessed? How did they get then they say Jesus is from Africa. They say Jesus is black.
Yeah, that's an argument that people make. Oh, Jesus is black, Jesus is whatever.
He's definitely black, bro. He was an immigrant without papers. He was there born somewhere. He was being chased around. You think that was a guy born in privilege? That guy was like a refugee from Somalia or Ukraine. At this point, when you think about it, he was being chased around. They're almost killing all the boys. He wasn't born into wealth. There's no way he was not black. Continue, bro. Yeah. Probably his credit was horrible too.
But bottom line is, before Jesus,
correct,
the people back then were thriving.
Think about it.
They did a lot of great things.
Yeah.
Some of which we cannot even fathom today. Right? A lot of the things that they did back then, we can't even
imagine right now.
Yeah.
To think that the diseases we have now,
it was not there back then.
How are they knowing the diseases? Who are speaking to the spirits? They would say that the spirits would tell maybe a community leader who's gonna be the next chief. It would come to them to win wars. All these movies they're making right now, like the Woman King.
I've seen that.
There's somewhere they went, which sometimes they omit from the stories because they don't want it to look so dark.
Right.
But there's a place they used to go. Remember when they said T'Challa was stripped off on Black Panther?
Yeah.
What was that? That's African spirituality.
Yeah.
They were right there. Why did they have to go to the waterfalls to do the battle with the other guy? That's African spirituality.
That's African. And a lot of the movies that are coming out, they sprinkle pieces of it in there. Like when you look at the Woman King, right? You realize that each time they go to war, they come back and they pour libation.
Correct.
In the backyard.
They actually pour libation in the movie too.
Exactly. Yeah. You see all of that. And those were all African spirituality.
Correct.
You offer drinks to your ancestors who have come here, lived up here on this earth.
It's a gift. It's a customary thing to show that you're hospitable.
Exactly.
You're not selfish.
Yeah.
They bless you, you give back.
Exactly. Right. So we do all of these things. But the misconception is that, when Christianity came, they deemed all of these things as demonic, evil things, voodoo, all kinds of names, so that people remember, and I'm sure you've gone through this before.
Talk to me.
That back then, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you and your boys, right? There's a new girl in town.
Correct.
That everybody wants this girl.
Yeah.
I'm talking about back home, right?
Back home, yeah.
Then somebody will come around and start dissing the girl to everybody. Right? So that
nobody can talk to that girl.
Nobody will want to talk to that girl.
But that one person.
Secretly, he's going around talking to this girl.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly how Christianity was. It's like
repel, capture, repel, yes.
So that you flock, all of you guys will flock to this new thing. And that's what they did. And also, African gods, in African spirituality, like there's a God in every family.
In every community too.
In every community too.
How many gods are in
one
India?
Of these days we can come here and talk about, God, African gods, and, all of that.
Yeah.
But also I know that if I come and steal your iPhone, your God is gonna kill me. So
punishment by death.
And it was instant justice.
Correct.
Yeah. So that's what they knew. But Christianity came and promised them, hey, I steal your iPhone, I can go somewhere and confess it without you even knowing
Without
And
you
then I'll be good.
feeling like, and they say, I remember this verse, we used to be mad about it, but then people in school used to say, revenge is for the Lord. So God is God, which is okay, which is acceptable. God the Father, great, amazing.
Right.
But what about the African spirituality where people used to have their own form of justice, and people did not have as much conflict as we have right now?
Yeah, because that was the thing. It's justice. African system is justice.
Correct.
If I steal your stuff, your God is going to
justice.
deal with me.
Correct.
So I'm not going to come to you.
That's why
and
crime
say,
is low.
That's why crime was low.
Yeah.
But with Christianity, with religion, I'm not just going to limit it to Christianity, but I would say religion.
Let's do religion.
There's this thing that, God will do it.
Pacify.
God will handle it.
Pacify.
Exactly. So, I can come steal your stuff. I can come kill you. I can come do this, all of these things. And then you on the other hand, is sitting down thinking, God will handle it. God will handle it.
Correct.
But when we come to African spirituality, your God, you just present it to your God. Your God even know before you even go to him or her to speak to them about it. So they even know. And whatever you want to happen to the person who stole your phone is going to happen to them. If you want them to die, it's going to happen. If they want them to whatever you want, that is going to happen.
And also, the other thing that I was questioning a lot at that time was religion or spirituality is about love.
Right.
If we are to accommodate others, right? For example, I host events, right? And sometimes I host events, like sometimes Indian weddings, and they don't eat meat at all. I have to respect that my favorite prime rib is somebody's God. I can't eat it around that person. I can't force my Christianity on that person if that's their God. They see a God. I see somebody who needs to be put on a skillet.
So let me go back and say this. And back then, right, the whole concept of God before religion came,
correct,
was that our ancestors believed that, and I'm gonna do a metaphor, like imagine the electricity that's flowing through here, recharging our phones, we got these microphones, it's all plugged in, right? So the source of the electricity, the power plant or the dam, wherever the electricity comes from, we don't even know where it's coming from.
We think it's water. Yes, we have found ways to like churn it up and throw it in hydro or whatever, but
exactly,
we don't really know where it comes from.
That all we know is that, hey, I plug in my cell phone and it works. I plug in my TV
and it works.
I'm watching it, right? But what they've done is that the main source where the electricity is coming from, they've channeled the power over there is so great that I cannot take my cell phone and go there to plug it in there.
They have to channel different ways to bring it all the way down.
Exactly. So the amount of power that's coming, it's going to kill me.
Correct.
Right? So what they've done is that they've channeled it and they bring the power down. They put them into transformers, into all these tension high, exactly. And the one that comes to your house as a plug is the one that is very low.
It's not yet
at your level.
Correct.
So that you can you can safely plug in your cell phone or your TV or whatever, and it will work without it killing you. Right?
Yeah.
So the African spirituality, they view God as that. God is the creator of all things.
It's too powerful.
It's too powerful
for you to
mighty. You cannot go to it. Nobody even know where he or she is, right? And you cannot just go in front of him and be like, oh, I need this or I need that. So
it's like it's a whole performance. It's like it's a ritual.
Exactly.
It's like, think about it. This is why sometimes I have conflict with people. When you go to the president, right now, President Biden, you can't just walk.
You cannot just walk up to him.
So how are you gonna just walk up to God? No gifts,
nothing.
No nothing.
Be like, hey God, I need food.
I said, just give me some. It's supposed to be we serving him.
Exactly.
But now he looks like he's serving us.
Yep. But in the actuality,
correct,
God is the one that is our server. We don't serve God. God serves us.
Yes.
Because we were put here for a purpose.
Correct.
Right? And everything that we need, that energy called God. I call it energy.
Energy.
For the purpose of this conversation, let's just, call him God.
Good.
God has all the tools, right? So we need to connect
to the tools.
to God in order to
get the tools.
download the tools. The tools are already in us.
Yeah.
And so back to the analogy that I was making, that so the God, the Almighty, the creator of all things, nobody knows where he is.
Correct.
Right? But all the things that he created
And around us.
he put a piece of him in all his creation.
As we look like him.
Right, exactly. So that whenever we need something for him, we can go to his creation. We can go to the rivers for stuff. We can go to another humans for stuff. We can go to the stones.
He's somewhere with
We
us.
can go to all things nature. And that's why you were saying that people are worshiping bull. Because that is nature. God
For them.
created it.
Yes, correct.
And there's God in that animal.
Correct.
And that's why they connect to that animal in order to get to God. So that's what it is. And then when religion came, it demonized all these things.
All these other
why
things.
you serving animals?
Correct.
Why you doing this? It's not just serving animals. We highly revere all these things because it's nature and God created all these things. Right? And God has it too. So let's say if we need something, if I need something, like we're making this podcast, we
Correct.
have to come together.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I have to recognize that you are God.
Correct.
And so I can come to you in order for us to do this and make it happen.
Good.
Right? If we need healing, we can go to the plants
And
whatever,
water,
and
correct.
everything. And
Meditation, whatever.
And
people
we do
correct.
meditation and
Yeah.
all of that, knowing that nature is God. So when we go to nature, we connect to God, and that's what African spirituality is all about.
African spirituality, ladies and gentlemen. If you have any questions, please drop them after the podcast. My brother right here is very gentle with these topics. He's really nice to everybody. We are allowing all types of dialogue. We love discussions. We love debates. We want to know what you think. So please remember, subscribe and let us know what you think about this episode. So I have another question for you, my brother.
All right.
Are there any specific rituals or practices within the African spirituality that have gained popularity or recognition beyond Africa? I have seen like Brazilian culture.
Yep.
They have like festivals where they dance, and they have like a festival of the dead, like the ones in Mexico. They have festival. They are everywhere. They have sprinkles of Africa in it, but they have evolved and recultured with the different people. I've seen in France they have different dances for like this is I think it's like traditional. What was it called? I need to get that back.
There's
but
also
I can feel
different ones.
that there's some Africanism in some of this cultures being poured out in Haiti, in Jamaica, in Port-au-Prince, right? So, what are some of the practices you think that a modern world has adopted from African spirituality?
See, the thing is, everything that we see today
Correct.
originated from Africa, right? It comes from the African.
Correct.
So it's like when time goes on and as we evolve, we take something and slowly as we evolve, we modernize it, we add different things to it. But whatever you see, you can trace it all the way back to Africa, right? Where the original one is. Like we live in America.
Correct.
We know that here, the culture here is kind of like,
Yes,
surface
it's
level.
surface level, yeah.
Right? You see pieces of different cultures in
Come
here.
together.
Exactly.
Especially with everybody now, like America being the hot pots, the crock pots, the buffet of cultures, right? Everybody's coming here, the whole mix. So there's influences everywhere.
Exactly.
Continue.
Yeah. So that's what we see. And whatever you follow, you can trace it all the way to Africa.
Correct.
And that's what it is.
So if you are unfamiliar with African spirituality, please go Google. You might find that some of the dances you do in this club are from African spirituality and you just don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to us. Exactly. Hold on.
Before you go, recently they crowned King Charles.
Yeah, in London.
In London. If you watch their celebration closely, before anything, they brought a stone into the picture. They did rituals for the stone.
Around the stone, correct.
And then after that, they gave him the Bible, and the Bible is just a decoy. That's what I would say.
For whatever they were doing at that day.
Whatever they were doing.
Correct.
But when you really look into it, it was the stone That was a main thing because, and we have this in our African, spirituality system. Before a king is crowned, we do all these rituals because when you go into that, we have the stones, which is nature, and some of the stones have powers, and even when you go to different religions,
they have the corals and stuff. Yeah,
exactly. Like when Muslims go to to Mecca every year, kissing the black stone and all of that.
There's a reason.
It's stones, right?
Yeah.
So we have all of these in Africa, but we've been made to demonize ours.
Everybody else is cool. They can do the tarot cards. They can do the guy who sprinkle the stone.
But you can trace it all to Africa.
Correct.
Yeah,
we did that before.
Exactly.
Where's that place? There's this country. Is it? It's not. Is it Ghana, Gambia, where they have the juju dance? This guy comes in and does all this turn, and then they throw this big basket, this big thing of hay. They just dance around, and there's nobody in it.
Yeah. That was
Ghana, and everybody goes there for that annual festival. They are told, look inside, there's nobody in here.
Yep.
Why is it moving? Until today, one of the biggest attractions, one of the biggest festival attractions down there. Now, there are some people who question that, yes, there's African spirituality and other religions and other spaces. But how does African spirituality foster a sense of community and interconnectedness? We're talking about, we have social issues right now. Racism, income inequality, the marriage relationship dynamics that have shifted between America, of course, and Africa, because Africa is traditional.
Right.
Prime example in Africa, with African spirituality, there's no cheating.
You said cheating?
There's no cheating.
Right.
Monogamy is a construct of Christianity.
Right. But, yep.
My grandfather had 12 wives. My other grandfather had 6 wives.
Yeah, six.
There were so many. Actually, I am from a lineage of the step family, not the real one.
Okay.
She used to just come see my grandmother like once a week because mom was not cool. But all that. But looking at that, how does it address those issues and not conflict with how we live right now in this century?
So right now we see this as the norm.
Correct.
Right? So since we see this like monogamy as a norm, then anything outside of that, people frown upon.
Vilify, demonize it.
Exactly.
You're cheating, you're hurting. Yeah.
But the question we don't ask is that back then it was working.
And it was perfect.
People were okay with it.
There were families.
There were families thriving off of it. So the question is, how did we get here? Right? Because it was working.
People are happy.
People were happier, back then. But now we have monogamy. And people are not happy.
People are not happy, even in monogamy.
Right.
Even within monogamy.
Right.
There's this sense, which we had this podcast, I was a guest the other day, and I asked my lady co-host at that time, that if monogamy is working, why is the energy in the air so bad about relationships? Because we all know in the African spirituality world that one person cannot give you everything.
Right. Exactly.
You're building a brand. Saw this story about Davido the other day. Shout out to my man Davido, by the way. Shout out to my Davido. But I believe that some people have been empowered spiritually as Africans for you to serve.
Right.
And it's in the Bible too. And I don't know why people debate a lot. That majority, remember when Abraham couldn't have a baby? He went to the servant.
Right.
Which was okay. Which was okay. In this world, they call it like now open marriage, but it's not supposed to be open, it's supposed to be a unit. When Solomon, the wisest man, the guy who had all the wisdom, was that wisdom only limited to one person?
No.
He had all these wives and all these concubines who coexisted in a peaceful way.
Right.
Because they all knew for the greatness of this guy to exude and service people, we can't limit him.
Right, and everybody has to play their role in helping him become as great as he was.
Do you think there was the sexism, chauvinism, feminism, all the isms that came after that have divided us? Because back then there are more angry women right now, and angry men right now.
Right.
in the monochrome world than how it was when the world was just in abundance. And like my grandfather, there was no any of his wives who ever made a TikTok saying they don't need men. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was like, they knew today's my day to get it. There was no cheating, by the way.
Exactly.
Everybody just knew this is my role. What do you think has changed the world? Do you think we've got a little selfish after we stepped out?
I think, and I might get in trouble for this.
Bro, we just talking, bro. You're good.
You know, when monogamy, right? I strongly believe that the monogamy is a causes of all these relationship problems.
Correct. Because we're expecting from one person.
We're expecting everything in one person, which one person cannot provide it all, right? Because different people
It's impossible.
bring different things.
It's impossible. You
Exactly.
can't.
So when you're expecting everything from this one woman and it's not, they don't have it,
Correct.
then you are forced to step outside. You want to go do something else.
Yeah.
Right? And then, they find out and it creates all kind of problems.
Correct. Yeah.
However, with polygamy, right? And this is why I said I'm going to get in trouble.
Right.
It's like when a woman knows that there's other women in the picture,
Correct.
right? It kind of forces them to act right.
Because you think it's like more like, hey, it's just, I'm not the only chandelier in
I'm
the
not
house.
the only, exactly.
Correct.
So if I don't act right, I'm not going to get this man's attention. So they got to act right in order to, gain this man's attention. However, in today, I know it's only me.
It's only me.
So whatever I do, you go to work, you're still coming back.
You're coming back to me.
So it kind of creates that. It's like, hey, I can do whatever I want to do.
And
at the
you're
end of
not
the day,
gonna go.
you have no choice. You're not going anywhere. You're still coming here.
And speaking about it, divorce costs a man more than a girl. It's cheaper to keep her. So everybody's not trying to step out because that divorce will rattle you. You saw it make Kanye crazy. Oh, man. Talk about
Yeah, the quickest way to make a man crazy today.
divorce, bro. The quickest way to lose your mind. Yeah, if you're married, just don't step out, bro. Chill. Now, in spirituality speaking, when we look at that dynamic you just mentioned right now, have we shifted from worshiping the higher being, the higher tier, the higher spirit,
right,
to worshiping people because we're afraid of losing? Because I feel within the African spirituality, we were supposed to all work towards pleasing and serving and delivering our mission as spirits.
Exactly.
But when we are limited now to a person, we become like we're worshiping somebody.
Right, right.
Our goal, our mantra, what was supposed to be our mission in this life becomes a person instead of
the higher being.
the person who gave you that.
Right.
And like you said, African spirituality, we celebrated death because it's your end of your journey.
Right.
That's where your story ends. This is where your last chapter is. But now we are scared of death. We have embraced the body more than the spirit.
Yeah.
When the guys who just drowned with the guys with the Titanic here. Yeah, I'm so glad I'm not rich, bro. Woo. Woo, I'm so glad I'm not rich. Sometimes I'm so scared I want to be rich. Back in the day they said that rich people don't wear Gucci belts. Rich people don't wear Rolexes or fancy clothes.
Yep.
But they've been doing some dumb shit with their money though.
Oh yeah.
Like going to space for 5 seconds. You saw that shit? They're talking about going there for like $500,000 for like 10 minutes in space. That's dumb.
Yeah.
But anyway, respect to the families of the guys who are lost. But when everybody was saying they died, in the African spirituality, they were on a mission down there.
Right.
Things that a lot of us don't even have courage to do. They went down there.
Right.
Things that 90% of the world will never do.
Exactly.
Which to me I'm always thinking, who discovered electricity? The first person to discover electricity, I'm sure there was some fatalities. The first person to discover guns, I'm sure there was fatalities. Sugar, what else, bro? Whiskey, everything.
Yeah.
Somebody, it came at a cost.
Even the cars we drive every day,
people
we
died.
get into accidents all the time and people die.
When people went to Dubai for the World Cup, People died so that the stadiums could be the way they are.
Right.
So that we can watch the games peacefully. I feel like it's one of those, when you look at it from a lens of an African spirituality, it's one of those sacrifices that are necessary for the advancement
Exactly.
of technology, for the advancement of human relationships. There has to be that.
Exactly. There's always some kind of sacrifice.
Correct.
You know, nothing is free in this world. There's always some kind of sacrifice.
And it's in the Bible too that God wanted sacrifice.
Exactly.
It was always like, you have to offer
God's
something.
favorite meat?
Human meat.
No. God's favorite meat is, according to the Christianity,
Correct.
God's favorite meat is sheep. Because every time he will call somebody,
I want sheep.
I want sheep. You gotta sacrifice one for me.
A fat one too. Anyway, brothers, thank you guys for listening to us, man. I hope you're enjoying the show today. I have a few more questions. I know this has been running, but I want to ask you a few more questions. As a practitioner of African spirituality, are there any people who have influenced you in your journey of African spiritualism? Anybody you listen to? Anybody books you read? How do you nourish your African spirituality? How did you get the knowledge you have now? Because it was not in the system. It was not in your education system. How did you get there? You had to go home? Who put you on?
Oh, most definitely. There are people who have, influenced me in this direction.
Yeah.
And it's just like you said, it's not out there like that. They're not teaching that in schools.
Correct.
They're not teaching that thing in churches. So you have to be hungry for that kind of knowledge.
Correct.
In order to go out there, look for it. There's this one spiritualist. He's called Osofo Kojo Bentil.
Okay.
Like, I listen to his stuff a lot. And actually, shout out to Osofo Kojo Bentil.
Shout out, bro. Shout out.
Watch this video. He's been an influence in my life. And they actually did a spiritual diagnosis.
Correct.
From him. And that was when I realized, a lot of, my journey, like in the let me go back. In the African spiritual system, right? Now we don't practice it as much, and it's coming back. But back then, when a woman conceives, right, they go out there and find out who is coming. Because it might be an ancestor who's
trying to reincarnate it to come back
again.
Correct.
So they go out there and they find out who is coming, right? And then once they know who is coming, they give the kid a name based on what the kid is coming here to do.
The last name had power.
The names have power, and one day we can talk about names and their powers,
and their powers and what
the
they
different
bring.
gods
Correct.
that influence those, different
dynamics.
Exactly. Yeah. So they give the kid a name based on what the kid is coming here to do.
Correct.
Right? And that was when they created this saying that it takes a community to raise a kid.
Correct.
Because back then the whole village
had to instill
everything, the discipline and all of those good, manners in the kid. Because everybody knows this kid is supposed to be great. He's not supposed to be doing this. So when a random person sees a kid somewhere doing something that is contrary to what they're here to do, they know that, hey, you're not supposed to be doing this. You are a great person. And this is not what you're supposed to be doing.
You're not representing yourself.
Exactly.
You're representing all of us.
Exactly.
When you are a doctor, and I remember we had this discussion with a friend of mine. Remember the incident that happened on Juneteenth where these kids attacked these people at McDonald's? Somewhere. I don't know if it's Chicago or Detroit, somewhere. And they jumped them, they were angry, and everybody was like, oh, these kids, this is a system where parents don't spend enough time with the children. So the children are now like running around, they're always fighting. You see all the videos from girls in South Center punching each other. And I told my American friend, in Africa, this is not something you see. Because, if you knew how many of my neighbors whooped my ass, they would whoop my ass. And then when my mom comes, he gives me the bonus whooping my ass. Because, thank you for watching for him. We were going to school, and I once saw my mom beat up somebody's kid. I'm like, you're beating him like you know him. I'm like, I know the mom. I'm like, but she does not pay you to deliver those ass whoopings. Like, she just started slapping this kid. But I right now as an adult, I see the benefit.
Exactly.
Because we're all watching out for each other. So, in an American system, what do you think parents could adopt? Even if it's just graduate with African spirituality.
Right.
building communities that can help their children. Because the way we work, bro, parents cannot be there for their kids. It's expensive.
Right.
This economy is crazy right now.
It is crazy.
No one is gonna be like paying somebody to watch your kids. The kids have no money by themselves, majority of the time.
Right.
So how can we find a way to use African spirituality to influence how we raise our children?
So I think here, we have this individualism culture here.
Terrible.
Which, by the way, I mean, they all have their advantages and disadvantages.
Yeah.
One of the things is like you cannot even, when you see a kid doing something wrong, you even scared to go out there and, correct
the kid,
like,
yeah.
Hey, you're not supposed to be doing that.
This is not what you're doing.
Exactly.
And the kid will be saying, why are you talking to me? You're not my dad.
You're not my dad. And there can even be lawsuits and all of that.
You don't want that stuff.
Which you don't want that stuff. So everybody minds their own business.
Good.
Which I think that if there's the community is involved,
correct,
things can get better over here.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it first from my brother, Owusu, about African spirituality. We're going to dive more. We're going to have more episodes because this is the new face of what we're trying to do. Serious topics that affect our communities, things that we want to learn and unlearn about ourselves and our past.
Exactly.
Because these questions will start bothering you sometime.
Yeah, and I advise everybody to don't just listen to me and what we're talking about. Just go out there,
do your research,
learn about your history beyond slavery.
Correct.
Don't just take whatever they give to you in school. Learn beyond that. Challenge yourself. Because I can emphatically say that the reason why you are a Christian, the reason why you're Muslim or whatever religion you belong to is because you were born into a family who were already practicing that.
Correct.
Right? And at some point of your life, you need to challenge yourself. You need to challenge your belief system. When the same way that when you go to the gym, you try to lift more heavier weights than the previous time.
To push
better and challenge yourself for your muscles to grow.
Correct.
With that same way, we need to challenge our belief systems and everything we know. Ask questions. Don't just sit there and be like, oh, God will do it or whatever. We need to ask questions. We need to study, study our history. Go back to beyond slavery.
Correct.
And see what you can, uncover for yourself. Because this is crucial. Because in order to move forward in life, we need to know our past. Let's say we are in Shoreline right now.
Good.
And let's say we're trying to go to Linwood, or let's say we're trying to go to Seattle.
Good.
Right? And if we don't know that we're in Shoreline,
how are we going to go to Seattle?
Exactly.
How are we going to get the ETA of the time to get there?
We might even start heading north.
We're going to head here and we're going to head up in Spokane.
But once you know the past, once you know where you are, it makes it easier to project into the future.
Correct.
So I encourage everybody to just learn your history. Just beyond slavery, that's what I recommend. And you're going to discover a whole lot of things for yourself. You're going to discover a different world that you never knew existed.
And for the guys, we're not offending anybody on this show, you do have to understand that we can peacefully coexist with different beliefs and different takes.
Right.
We can be both Christians and still believe in African spirituality.
Exactly.
The thing about it is just the knowledge. Comprehensive understanding of spirituality that did not start with slavery or colonization.
Exactly.
Because they said in Africa, we blinked, we got Bibles, we lost land. Okay, so we gotta find out. Okay, but ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning onto this show again. We'll be having more episodes coming on to you. This show was sponsored by Phenomenal Tea. If you're a man and you have problems charging your phone, the big phone, the iPhone 17, depending on how many inches you have. I was not blessed like that. I have iPhone 14, small inch. But if you're blessed, but the iPhone does not want to charge, this tea right here, sometimes I mix it with scotch, and it helps me deliver all the apps. Download everything, screenshots, everything. Tomboy is working. So go get yourself Phenomenal Tea. My brother here is the CEO of the company. You want to give a small description of what this is?
Yeah. So what Phenomenal Tea is about is an luxury herbal supplement. in a tea form that is, helps men with, increasing testosterone levels. And we know that, from research, from science, and from the studies that testosterone is low. So, this tea helps, increase your testosterone levels, build energy and stamina, increase your libido and performance, and also help you last longer in the bedroom. So if you're a man and you have problems, like my brother says, charging your
Charge
phone and going the long distance.
When you go there,
Phenomenal tea. This is exactly what you need.
your
And this is all natural ingredients.
Exactly.
There's no side effects.
Correct.
So go to phenomenaltea.life and get yours ASAP.
Yeah, and this here, it doesn't matter how old you are, it can work. Sometimes young people don't have it, sometimes old people have it. But you know me, no, us, we don't crack. We don't crack. We age differently. Hey, bro, why do people age badly, bro? I saw a picture. We are closing, bro. I saw a picture of my classmates. Bro, these niggas aged like mud. Like mud ladder. Look at you. This guy, you see, is aged like Hennessy Imperial. Paradise XO. Top shelf in the mahogany box. Why are you gonna age yourself badly like this now? Take this tea so you can be younger. So the blood can flow. Phenomenal tea.
You gotta be phenomenal. Not just in the bedroom, but in all aspects of your life.
Because testosterone is not about just delivering.
It's not just delivering.
Sex.
Yeah, exactly.
It's also like it helps your charisma. I don't know. Somebody was talking about it in one podcast about the negative drawbacks of serial masturbation because you're losing sperm.
Exactly.
You're losing sperm. You need it as a man for your energy, for your presentation, your confidence,
everything.
And I'll tell you, the more you use this, when you walk into a room, if you're a single man, women can tell this man's iPhone charges a lot, and they're attracted more to you.
Exactly. So go get yours. Phenomenaltea.life.
Thank y'all for listening to us again. And is there anything else you want to share?
That's it.
That's it for today. Live, love, and have a good life. We're here at North Seattle. If you're a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur or a creative, please reach out to us if you want to be a guest of the show. We'd like to have you on the show. Thank you, my brother, for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. See you later, man.
Peace.
All right.